Hey, welcome to the Toolshed. Hey, I'm hanging out with my buddy Eddie. Hey, say hello, Eddie.
Hello, Eddie.
Hey, thanks for joining us. Hey, the Toolshed is a one of a kind. We can all agree on that, and it's brought to you by Schedule Engine, and that is a very nice thing they're doing. This is a total give back to the industry that's done so much for me and Eddie.
Right
the Toolshed's really a place you can come, and we can make every job just a little bit easier, but you can sharpen the tool. And the tool is between the ears, right? And that's the tool you got to sharpen the most. Like, success is an inside job. You got to work on you. Jim Rohn said, hey, if you work at your job, you can make a living, but if you work at yourself, you can make a fortune. And so start working on you, man. Hey, in this episode, thankfully, is brought to you by our good friends at Emerson. Yay. And so this is going to be a good one. Eddie's got a great exercise. You're going to want to watch this one a couple of times.
I think there was so much gold, and those like 6 things you just said, we should...
I'm warming up.
It's the trampoline. He's got a trampoline over there. He's
really
reaching for the stars, folks. Yeah, listen, how cool is it that Emerson, the Copeland scroll, it's their 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
They're here, they're sponsoring us, they're being just great partners for the trades, and we're real grateful. So, this week, if we had a theme, it's all kind of around pricing stuff. You talked about your aha moment, and we talked about how to think about it and how to be a good advocate for you, for your company, for your customer, and and doing the right thing, and following Marlin's law of like it's we're always going to tell the truth. So today, you and I were talking, and we had this conversation. You had said this idea of like, what if it was your name on the van? What do you mean by that, and like putting your name on something?
So, it's all about ownership. And so if you think about like, you get that last call. If you're an electrician, a plumber, an HVAC guy, a roofer, you get that last call of the day. Maybe you just don't treat that with as much importance as you maybe do that first call, because you want to go home and you want to take care of the big rocks. You want to do those things. But if your name was on the van, you might treat it a little differently. When that upset customer needs a phone call, and you wait all day to call them back,
I'm feeling attacked.
You're not treating them like your name is on the van. And I did this little thing where I was a big part of a company where they hired people, technicians where they were bartenders, landscapers, and we built a tech builder program, and we could teach people how to be a technician. And I would constantly tell people, if you'll give us 8 weeks, we can give you a career. But if you give us 2 years, it'll change your life. It'll literally change your life. And that's why you should get into the trades. It's just beautiful stuff. But like, if your name was on the van, your name is on the van. It is on the van. Now, it may say Lutz Plumbing, but it's your company. It's your little world. Like, it's your office. You drive around in your office all day as a technician. That's your office. So your name is on the van. And listen, your name, I'm preaching today. Your name, your name is on your career. Woo! Your name is on your career, and nobody's coming to help you more than you can help yourself.
Oh!
Right? You got to take control of your career because your name's on it.
If anybody is wondering why I'm so thin, it's because Jerry just crushed it. Wow. Yeah, it is, man. That was awesome. And, good people getting in the trades, you say, like, that's the best kept secret about the trades, right? It's like...
It's the secret.
It's the secret. It's awesome.
You can get in early. You can stay in late. You can move up in the company. You can start your own
sideways.
company.
Yeah, you can do whatever.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Having a little church up in here this morning. Not why we came, but, free bonus content. So, you know, as we're thinking about what if your name was on the van, what if it was acting responsibly, some of the things we need to get smart about, like if we were to take a deep dive today, little bonus content on thinking about pricing. There's a fun little exercise. Now, what I'm thinking we'll do is we'll go through this exercise, but we'll put a template like for this or a link to it in the Facebook group, so we'll make sure we do that. But this is called the dollar exercise. Like sometimes when you try and talk about the costs of an organization, a company, or even a job, like it's a little like up there, and despite what my glamorous career would have you believe, I didn't necessarily ace accounting in school, and so like when you think of all that, I don't really get that. So I kind of needed, you know, there's that episode of The Office where they're like, now explain it to me like I'm 7. Okay, explain it to me like I'm 4. And so I like things broken down. And you know what I can handle? I can handle $1. That's about what I'm good for.
I just remembered I didn't do too good in accounting either. I never liked Miss Pace, but go ahead.
Oh,
sorry.
She's probably not watching.
My apologies. She's probably not watching.
She's probably not watching. I mean, I don't know what her demographic is, but I'm pretty sure it's not high school teachers from 20 years, a few years ago. All right. So, because we're such rocket surgeons, as Jerry says, let's focus on $1. And so we have an exercise, and what we do is we get our team together and we say, all right, let's create a company. Okay? We're going to have a product. We're going to sell the product. We're going to create the product, and we're going to get $1. We're going to get $1 for that. And we'll have fun. We'll name the company. We'll name our product. We'll think through all of that. We'll have a little fun, but that's it. So we have $1. Then what's next? Well, there's this idea of, you know, you don't get to keep all of that money. That money goes places. The first place it goes is for a lot of the people in the trades, it's the direct cost of sales. So if it's a plumber, there's a water heater you have to pay for. If it's an HVAC, it's either a part or the system. There's what they're called direct costs, and that's just any cost that you have to pay to be able to do that job. And here's the thing, it can be a chunk, right? It can be a whole chunk. And so what I like to do is let's think if we can think of all of those, because as many as you can think of, I guarantee you're missing a bunch. And guess what? That all has to come out of that $1. So let's take a look at the next one. What comes after direct costs? Well, typically, there's indirect costs, and when you think about the trades, there's productive time and there's unproductive time, and most of us get paid the whole time. If we work 10 hours, we're not always creating revenue that whole time. And then there's other things. There's expenses. There's project coordinators. There's the miscellaneous materials that you grab off your truck. There's if you've got a shop, a lockup, an office. That can all gets paid for, right? So there's facility costs for all of that, and then if you've got salespeople, there's all of this. Guess what? That's still coming out of that same $1, and your company can tell you exactly what that is. What's after? So do we get to keep all of that? Well, no, because we have operating expenses. This is the stuff that if you've got a decent size company, maybe you've got overhead, right? Maybe you've got an IT department to keep telling you what your password is every 3 weeks when you forget it, right? There's
those guys make a lot of money telling you to reboot your computer. I just want to throw that out there. Apologies.
That's the Toolshed version of IT. Did you switch it off and switch it back on? But either way, someone's got to pay for them, and whether you have an in-house accountant or maybe a bookkeeper that you're paying, maybe you want to do extra benefits like. There's all of this tool. That's still coming out of that tiny sliver of $1 that's left. So you've had direct costs, the material, you've had the indirect costs, all the stuff associated with it that doesn't get charged an individual job. And then you've got some operating expenses. Does that mean we get to keep everything that's left? Guess what? No, because after that, there's still Uncle Sam who wants his chunk, and that can be anywhere depending on how good your accountant is. But let's say it's in that 30-40% rate. You're still having to pay that. And folks, make sure you pay it. So does that mean we get to keep what's left? Well, maybe, but what about all those other things that you want? If you're a tech, you're probably thinking, man, my vehicle's 3 or 4 years old. I'd love a new vehicle. It's about time they give me a new tool or a new rack or a new cordless set. all of that. If you want to grow your marketing and invest before you've made it, this all takes working capital. And that all comes from somewhere. And guess what? $1's only so big. So as you're thinking, I would encourage you, take this, take a look at your numbers, and if you're an individual, you can try and figure it out. And listen, you don't have to be super laser focused. To the nearest couple of percent is good, but I would encourage you to do this exercise. Now, all of a sudden, what you're going to realize is you're putting a whole ton of effort in, and all those things you say you want from a company cost money. And as our friends at Nexstar says, it's expensive to be awesome.
To be awesome.
And if we're not charging the right amount of money for, and hear me on this, for every single thing we do, remember, that's not your money unless your name's on the truck. If you're throwing something in to take care of a customer because you think it's the right, unless someone's paying for that, that's not really yours, but the costs have to be covered somewhere. All of that, think of $1, think of what it costs, and do that exercise with your team, and it'll be interesting. You can give out prizes if anybody gets everything on those lists. Take a look at what your expenses, everything that you paid for falls into one of those buckets. And when you understand the power of $1 and the pennies that are left, all of a sudden, when you're having conversations with your team about why it costs X amount to do this, or you're talking about like up in the flat rate because especially coming out of summer like this, I had friends that got 6 price increases in one season, right? Well, that all comes from somewhere. And as a technician, I'm going to speak to you directly because I didn't get this. We sometimes don't get this because we have the luxury of not worrying of running out of that $1. But our responsibility, like as Jerry says, if we're in the huddle and we've got our play to run, we got to run the play, but we got to run it as a good teammate. And we got to understand that somebody somewhere is paying that bill, and our job is to make sure that we're helping generate the money to cover the costs, because it's expensive to be awesome.
It is. And so if you're a service manager, an owner, and you have some pricing questions from your technicians, and they say, hey man, why do we have to charge so
that
much
part
for
costs
this?
$6.
Like, listen, this is a great exercise to talk about why we charge what we charge, and to a homeowner says, hey, like, that's really expensive. Well, Mr. Homeowner, we keep about $1 out of every $100.
Right.
Right. We don't make a lot of money. It just seems expensive because it's expensive to be awesome and get out here and take care of you. And don't you want us to be awesome for your family's health and wellness?
Yeah, I think this is very similar to the principle of open book accounting. Not everybody's comfortable with sharing that level of detail with their technicians. This is an exercise you can do as a single owner or as part of a team. You can share it. This, in conjunction of equipping people with what to say when they get those objections, this is the comprehension that gives the conviction to say that sentence and mean it. And we've seen incredible light bulbs go off. It's like, oh man, I had no idea. And then very little delays in being able to stand firm and speak to your value that you're delivering. Anyway, that was a ton. We're going to drop this in the group. The power of $1, you heard it here first from neurosurgeon and rocket scientist Jerry and Eddie in the Toolshed. The Toolshed is brought to you by our good friends at Schedule Engine, our wonderful team at Emerson supporting us, and we're really grateful you're here. Hopefully this helps. Keep the feedback coming. Jerry?
Hey, thanks for stopping by the Toolshed today. Go out there and be awesome. Be good so you can do good. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.